If you're looking for a way to get your fire started, check out procamptech.com. They've got fat rope stick, fire strip roll, and more. Check them out, procamptech.com. Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today we're looking at this, which is a Barebones Pulaski. So Barebones is the company. This actually came to me from Bespoke Post, so B-E-S-P-O-K-E-P-O-S-T, Bespoke Post. It's a monthly subscription box. This is one of the products included in there. You can see Barebones right there on it. I saw this years ago and was interested in it. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna wait. Finally, I got contacted by Bespoke Post and they sent me one to check out. So I'll give you some of the details and we'll definitely put this thing to work. We're looking at 24 inches end to end, 5.55 pounds. So it's definitely a hefty tool. What you've got with this thing is that you got a digging end on this one side, and then on this other side, you've got your edge for chopping. Let me talk about the sheath real quick. You've got leather there and a bunch of snaps, and then you have, just a very durable, softer material. I don't know exactly what it is. I couldn't find the information on that. But basically this goes over the, it's a mask for that portion of the Pulaski, the cutting edge. And then for this, similar material, you run it like that, and then the snap goes over the top here. Now when I saw this on Barebones website, I think it was full leather. So this is a little bit less durable, but it still seems quite strong. This piece here, be a little bit, I mean, I'm not going to be carrying it like this because if you pull too hard, that'll pop off. I'd like to see something a little bit more durable, but it'll do the job, I think. And the fact that when you take this off, the mask for the cutting edge doesn't come off really easily. It'll move, but it'll stay in place unless you really yank on it to pull it off. So, like I said, a full leather one would be better, but this'll do here. As far as your handle, it is beech. It is 1055 high carbon steel for the top there, or for your actual, your cutting edge and the back side of the Pulaski. You can also see here, we've got a hex bolt, and they do include, when you get this from Barebones, a hex wrench, so you can really crank this thing down. Now I haven't messed with this at all, so see if it's loose at all. You can crank it a little bit here. Yeah, I guess not a ton, but I'm getting it to spin a little bit. There you go. So that's definitely locked in now. Honestly, a little bit of a hassle that you would have to carry this, but on the positive side, with your average axe, if the head starts to get loose, it's definitely gonna be a bit more work. Whereas with this one, if you've got that hex wrench, you could crank it down. So there's a look at it. Beechwood. There's your end. You're not gonna use this for a smashing tool or a pommel or anything like that, but it's definitely a good looking tool. I'll say that. The weight is definitely going to be something that for some people they're like, I can't backpack with that thing, which I understand. The reason it appealed to me first off was because it looked cool, honestly, and then secondly because I'm in New Hampshire and it's cold a lot of the year, and we have, the ground is frozen. Now I've got something I can dig out if I want to dig out, like a fire pit or something like that. This allows me to do it quite easily. So real quick note here, I've uncovered both sides. Don't ever use this end without the mask on the cutting end. As you're swinging, if you come back, you could definitely hurt yourself or somebody else. But we're gonna get to do some chopping and some, I guess, digging with this thing right now. Let's put it to use. As you can see right here, I've already done some chopping. I was using the new SE5 compared to the old SE5 doing that. But this is a tree I got to take down anyhow, so I'm gonna do some chopping with the cutting end of the Pulaski now. Got another dead tree here. That first one had a little bit of a bounce just because it was still pretty solid in the ground and was so short. So do some work on this guy right now. Okay, I can tell you already, I'm getting a little discomfort right here in my hand. I'll show you the end of the handle. It's got these little tiny bumps as it goes. There's a ring that goes around the base there. Definitely irritating my hand. So this ring right here, it's got these tiny little bumps on it. I don't know if you can hear this. Sounds like a zipper almost, but yeah, that's definitely uncomfortable on the hand. So I'm gonna have to put some gloves on to do some more work. So one thing for me when I'm reviewing tomahawks or axes is that I often don't go out and buy wood or cut wood so it's exactly 24 inches long and 7 inches across, that type of thing, because it's rare that you're gonna find wood like that. Obviously you're not gonna find wood like that unless it's been prepared. Or personally, I don't spend a lot of time prepping wood like that. I don't cut the perfect size piece of wood and then split it. They're all different kind of weird shapes and sizes, so I prefer to split wood or prepare wood for a fire that's a little bit more awkwardly shaped, because that's more realistic in my world, at least in my experience, and how I spend my time in the woods. So we're going to use the Pulaski now to do some wood prep as if we were making a fire, and yeah, we'll split apart some wood. I'll see if around my bushcraft base camp here I can find some that's a little bit more easy to split, and then I'll definitely be able to find some wood that's just awkwardly shaped. So let's see how it does with that. All right, I'm going back to no gloves just to see how this works. And I can't really find any nicely split wood, or that's easy to swing down into and split it in two nice even pieces. So we just got some strangely shaped wood here, and we'll give this a shot. So let's try. This is a piece of maple here. That was pretty easy. Not sure what this kind of wood is, but we'll give it a shot here. Try this way here. This is obviously a piece I used in a fire not too long ago. Some hardwood right there. Whatever it is, it's hardwood. There we go. I will say the weight of the Pulaski, it adds, that nice amount of weight, so it's a little bit easier to chop some of this wood. There's a piece of pine. Definitely split it. Here's a look at some of the wood. So what can I tell you so far? The weight is going to be a minus as far as carrying it out in the woods. It's a plus, as you saw, that extra heft compared to maybe a smaller hatchet or something. It makes it easier to split things. I am concerned, sounds weird, but I'm looking at my hand. That little ring is just uncomfortable. So if you're gonna buy this and use it quite a bit, I'm gonna recommend you get some gloves, work gloves. Winter gloves is what I'm wearing. Not as good because they don't have any kind of real grip on it, but you could use those. But yeah, I would just say, that design, it looks cool, but uncomfortable when you're actually gripping the Pulaski to use it for chopping. So we're gonna use the dig again now and see how it does with that. As you can see, I had a fire here not too long ago, but I'm just gonna kind of dig this up and then dig the ground underneath it. It's not totally frozen. It's in the 30s now, but it's been a little bit warmer. But just to see how it works. Well, the ground is pretty frozen, actually, it looks like so. And there's quite a few roots as well, as you can see. So, realistically, you're not using this thing like a shovel, actually. You're kind of doing this to scrape along the surface and to dig down in a bit, but you're not trying to dig a deep hole with this thing. That's not what the tool is used for. But so if I was clearing this area out like so, it works quite well for that. I would say be careful, because if you get it jammed in and then you try to leverage it, you're going to go like this and you're going to push back on the sheath, and then eventually, you just got to be careful you don't beat up the blade in the process of using it. But if you were kind of cultivating the ground like this in order to dig a trench for fire pit or something. Seems to be doing the job, and I'm going to tell you again, my backhand as it rests on this, just not super comfortable. Alright guys, I've been wandering around trying to find a spot where there's not like a huge shadow on my face or where I'm totally blinded by this late evening sun in New Hampshire. But that being said, let's wrap up talking about the Barebones Pulaski. Sometimes you use a piece of gear for a long amount of time to figure out exactly what you think about it. Other times it doesn't take as long. So I've been using this on and off camera as well, and I can already tell you my conclusions on it. Here are the positives and then some of the downsides. So on the positive side, if you need something that's got a cutting edge and also a digging implement, then this could be a good option for you. I do think, like I said before, it's a handsome looking tool. I've come to actually appreciate a little bit more the fact that you can crank that head down with the included hex wrench. Like I said, a little bit of a downside that you got to carry a hex wrench with you, but if it gets loose, crank it down and you're ready to go, as opposed to some other chopping tools or cutting tools out there. If the head of, say, an axe or something gets loose, it's a little bit more work than just crank and you're good to go with the hex wrench. So yeah, I think those are some of the wins. Maybe kind of neutral, plus minus, depending on your opinion. The sheath, I'd like a full leather sheath with a full mask here, made of leather, and a little bit more durable as far as how it connects front to back. That one single strap of leather, a little bit concerned about. That being said, I do think this is built for somebody who's not, headed deep into the woods to do some serious chopping. This is going to be meant to process some wood for campfires and stuff. I don't think you're going to be felling a lot of large trees or anything with this. I don't think it's intended to do that. So I don't want to be overly critical of the sheath, but I'd like to see an improvement there. As far as the things I think that can improve on, or let me put it this way, I don't know even if I'd improve it, I just get a different tool. The length of your cutting edge, it's probably, it's less than 3 inches. You're looking at over 4 with something like, I think it's 4.5 with the Cold Steel Trail Boss. So as far as for cutting down trees, processing wood, general use when you're out in the wilderness, a standard axe I think is going to beat this, again, unless you need something to dig with. The advantage of your standard axe or hatchet is you can use the backside to hammer in tent stakes, things like that. I do think this end, I don't mind using some gloves when I'm using a tool, but yeah, it's extra. It's not like it needs to be there, so I would just smooth that out and the whole thing would be much more comfortable and you can use it without gloves. Your price point for this is around 140 bucks. So the Cold Steel Trail Boss, I think, is 38 maybe on Amazon right now. So let's round it to 40. You're getting 3+ of the Cold Steel Trail Boss for this. I don't ultimately think this is a wilderness tool, like somebody who's doing a ton of backpacking. If you got to go out into the woods and you're going to be, car camping and splitting up wood, processing a little bit of wood, then I think this guy will be great. I do think it's really handsome. I think it's I don't know if it's much better, but it's definitely better looking in my opinion than the Cold Steel Trail Boss. But that being said, it's just a lot of money, 142 bucks for this, as opposed to less than 40 for the Cold Steel Trail Boss. And I don't think the Trail Boss is the standard, but if you're gonna spend 140 bucks for a wilderness tool, I'd go with a standard axe before I went with a Pulaski. Again, unless you need the digging implement. But I do think it's handsome. The fact that I own it, I'll use it. I'll probably keep it out here at my bushcraft camp and use it to process some wood. I've actually got a Cold Steel Rifleman, I think it's the Rifleman Tomahawk out here that I use. So I'll probably use this and that and mix them up back and forth. I don't need a digging implement a lot personally when I'm out in the woods. If I really need to dig a hole for like a fire pit or something, I'll find a strong stick, dig it out, and then I'm good. It's like people who carry shovels. Some people like to use them, but I just don't find them as useful as other tools. And when it comes to weight, I'd rather carry, a big hefty chopper or machete, an axe, something like that, instead of a shovel. So the fact that this has a digging implement and it's not a shovel either, it's just, it's not meant to dig a deep pit. So yeah, again, cool, but if I was going to spend the money, I'd probably spend 142 bucks on a variety of different tools as opposed to just this. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. You've seen it a little bit in use, and if you've used a Pulaski, I realize that people who are doing firefighting, a Pulaski is a very important tool. So I just feel like for the average guy who's out in the woods, A, they're not going to use this one if they're firefighting, probably, I would guess, and B, the average guy probably doesn't need this type of tool a ton. I think keeping this around the house, keeping this for car camping, that could definitely be a win. But like I said, I'm gonna invest my money somewhere else. If I got 140 bucks, 142 bucks to spend, I can get a variety of different things instead of just getting this. So those are my thoughts, but let me hear your thoughts about the Barebones Pulaski. Alright guys, thanks as always for checking out the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.